Here we're looking at solving some one-step inequalities using multiplication and division. Alright, this first example we have 5x is less than 15. X is being multiplied by 5. The opposite of that is to divide by 5. So we'll divide both sides by 5, leaving us with x is less than 3. So that one's solved. We can go ahead and put this on a number line. Here's our 3, 2, 4, 2, 3, 4. This one will have an open circle on 3, shading to the left. Alright, so one thing that you want to look out for when you're solving inequalities and you have to use multiplication or division. Do you see this next example, negative 6y? There is a negative 6 with the y. It's connected to it with that multiplication. If you have an example where there's a negative number connected to it with multiplication like that, and you have to divide both sides of your inequality by a negative number, this is going to flip your inequality. So if you notice, I just divided both sides by a negative 6. Your negative 6's cancel, and instead of being y is greater than, y is going to be less than negative 4. So it's a pretty easy thing to do, however it's really easy to forget. So the rule is if you are multiplying or dividing both sides by a negative number, you flip the inequality. This has an open circle on negative 4, shading to the left. Oftentimes you can tell from the beginning of a problem if you will end up flipping the inequality. For example, this one here on the left, you can see that there's a negative 2 connected to the variable. That's one where we will end up flipping the inequality. The reason we flip it is the opposite of dividing by negative 2 is to multiply by a negative 2 on both sides. Those negative 2's cancel on the left, so we have n, and then I just multiplied both sides of an inequality by a negative number. That flips my inequality, and we end up with n is greater than or equal to negative 10. It's negative 10, negative 9, negative 11. This is a closed circle, shading to the right, because n is greater than or equal to negative 10. Alright, this last example, we have to figure out where our d is. This time it's over here on the right, and we're dividing by a positive 3. So from the beginning I can tell that I will not have to flip the inequality on this one, because when we solve, we'll multiply both sides by positive 3. And when you multiply by a positive, nothing changes. The only time you flip the inequality is if you're multiplying or dividing both sides by a negative number. Alright, so our 3's are gone. Our inequality stays the same. Negative 1 times 3 is negative 3. And then we can rewrite that where you have the d on the left side. D is greater than or equal to negative 3. On a graph, you've got negative 3 in the middle. So your negative 2, negative 4. This is a closed circle, and because d is greater than or equal to negative 2, we are shading to the right to the greater values. So look out for the two middle ones we did, where you are, this one right here, dividing both sides by a negative number will flip your inequality, and multiplying both sides by a negative number will also flip your inequality.